When we come back, we're going to speak with Member of Parliament Iram Lewis, who is asking that please can the Pharmachem situation please be entirely cleaned up because it poses a major threat for Grand Bahamians. The Member of Parliament for Central Grand Bahama, Iram Lewis, is lamenting and urging that quick action be taken as it relates to the cleanup, the real cleanup, the full cleanup of the Pharmachem facility, building and surroundings. We are going to get more of this. In fact, he addressed it in Parliament recently, but of course he is saying that, listen, this is urgent. Give attention to this as well, because nothing has been done as yet. And so of course, we're going to discuss with him this evening after I was contacted by a number of Grand Bahama residents yesterday and this morning to please look into the matter. I've reached out to the Member of Parliament to find out exactly what's going on after he spoke to it in Parliament and to get an update. And so, Mr. Lewis, thank you very much for joining us here on Beyond the Headlines. Good evening to you. Good evening to you, Darren Cooper. Thank you both for joining us this evening.
Good evening, Shania. Good evening, Bahamas, and thank you for having us.
Yes, absolutely. I'll start with you first, Mr. Lewis. Listen, many of your, I imagine, constituents, residents, a number of them, just Grand Bahamians, quite frankly, because they are quite concerned about what is taking place and what has been allowed to just sit on that Pharmachem facility and the building. Please explain for us what is the risk, what is the danger, and why so much concern?
Well, Shanique, let me go back to when I first became involved in this matter. When I heard that the Pharmachem facility was closing down, I reached out to one or two of the employees who just to offer them support. And they say, well, we are closing shop on the 13th of January, around the 13th of January. However, there will be a skeleton crew of essential workers on the site because there is an abundance of poisonous chemical and raw material on the site that needs to be managed and eventually disposed of. The chemicals needed to be held at a certain temperature, and they needed to be managed properly, containerized, and shipped out. So the thought was that there was going to be a skeleton crew of essential workers.
So you're saying, Iram, that there isn't even anywhere here to dispose of this. They must be containerized and shipped out.
Yes, the waste product is shipped out of the country. But as it stands right now, I did a follow-up on the 30th of January. Last Tuesday night, I got a call that the site is unmanned, save for 2 security officers at the gate. So they're manning the property. However, the chemicals that is dangerous is right there, not watched. So I made a few calls, did my proper investigations because I don't want to just be shooting from the hips, shooting in the dark. And I was told factually that on January the 13th, the site was shut down completely. The power was shut off, the water was turned off, and the most salient part of this was that the nitrogen tank, the nitrogen system was shut off. The nitrogen is a blanketing agent. It covers the poisonous gas from escaping. It shelters it, it keeps it contained. The volatile components of those chemicals are contained by nitrogen. The nitrogen system was shut off. I was told that the hurricane protocol was adhered to, but other safety measures were not taken care of. So when they shut off a hurricane, the power is still on, the water is still on, the nitrogen system is still on. But as it stands now, the system is totally shut down. Those gases are escaping. They're going into the atmosphere.
Now, are you saying this with all surety? And Darren, you can jump in as well. And the reason before you jump in, the reason I ask you that is this political mischief, or are you and maybe the residents who called me, are they just fearful for no reason? And the reason I ask that is because first, let me just say this let me remind you of this because you would have been in Parliament, and then you can respond and Darren can respond. Now, the Minister of Grand Bahama, Ginger Moxie, has said there is no need. You are making a lot to do about not as much as you are saying, because she says, let me just quote this in a daily newspaper. Cabinet ministers have refuted opposition MPs' concerns over the storage of hazardous chemicals and materials at the Pharmachem plant following its mid-January closure. Ginger Moxie, the Minister of Grand Bahama, told the House of Assembly that the site is secure and 20 former Pharmachem employees will be hired to complete the disposal of any hazardous materials.
Right there, that operative word, will be hired, speaks to the fact that the site is unmanned. And this was not political mischief. This was not an attack on the government. I was happy that the Minister for Grand Bahama was in Parliament at the time, and more happy that the Minister for the Environment was in Parliament at the time. He said that they would carry out an investigation immediately to see that the story that I brought to Parliament wasn't correct, because I was hoping that it was not the correct story. However, I did follow-ups when I came back to Grand Bahama, only to find out that the site is unmanned. And the fact that she said they will be hired shows that the skeleton crew that should have remained there until those chemicals were disposed of completely was missing. Furthermore, in the back of the facilities, there are berms that contains wastewater. The wastewater system is shut off. There's no way to take the wastewater out and containerize them and send them out of the country.
So your thing is everything is just sitting there.
Yes, and over the last few weeks, we've had a downpour of rain, a lot of rain. The fear is that, and persons who work there fear that the water may have overflowed. Those berms overflow.
Darren,
going into the ground.
Darren, I've spoken. Yes, Aaron, I want to bring Darren in on this discussion because like I said, several Grand Bahama residents have expressed to me. I know that they've also reached out to you because you have a talk show in Grand Bahama, and also you find that their concerns are legitimate. Your thoughts, sir, on the fact that the minister is saying, hey, things are in place, systems are in place to be able to address this sufficiently?
Shanique, good afternoon, Bahamas, good afternoon, Iram. I can say to you that the Minister of Environment, Vaughn Miller, along with the Minister for Grand Bahama, Ginger Moxie, along with the Technical Environmental Department of the Grand Bahama Port Authority are all aware of the hazardous chemicals that are on property. I have had the opportunity, I've heard Vaughn Miller and the Minister for Grand Bahama, Ginger Moxie, in the House of Assembly made a comment as it relates to them being aware of what is presently on Pharmachem's property. The Port Authority, in a conversation with them, indicated that they would have done a site inspection and they are aware of what's on the property. For me, first of all, I have parents live in Hawksville. Second, apart from that, I'm 3 communities down from Pharmachem plant. And when Iram spoke about the hydrogen being turned off, this is the blanket of any explosion that could possibly take place. Hydrogen. And if this for God forbid, any spark, anything happens on this plant, you're looking at quite a bit of communities being wiped away by the chemicals that are on this site.
So those chemicals are that dangerous and potent, Darren?
These are some of the most dangerous set of chemicals that's used around the world. And that's why it cannot be disposed of here. I did a live basically just trying to bring clarity to this matter. And when that was done, I had someone, a former employee of the company, who says, listen, I cannot publicly speak because I've signed a disclosure form. I cannot say things that I would want to say. But what you are saying is really something that we should be concerned about, something that we should look into, something that the government should quickly address. And the fact that the Minister for Grand Bahama says that a liquidator has been appointed and a skeleton team of 20 will be rehired to deal with it, which means that for some going on 30 days since this plant closed, this plant has sat with just demanding of security officers, 2 per shift. Mm-hmm. In the minister's comment, she said that some senior officials periodically visit the site. Well, from the raising of this concern last week, Wednesday, today being Thursday, there has been 2 cars that have been parked at this facility. One being a gray BMW and one being a maroon Saturn. So there's been no periodic check to this facility because myself, along with residents of Hawksville, has been monitoring this site to make sure that what was said is actually being done.
What is the fare from both of you? Because I want to get this out and want you to really speak to the Bahamian people and the authorities that they understand the real significance of this. What is the fare from both of you of the potential that can happen there at the Hawksbill Pharmachem site?
For me, Shanique, what my concerns are as relates to the site is the fact that there are chemicals there that can spread to disease. I've been advised, and again, I've never worked in pharmachem, so a lot of the information that I have is persons who have employed, who've been there, who knows what is there, and who knows the concern that is there. And so a lot of chemicals, like Iram spoke about, the waste baskets not being properly manned, being properly drained, properly monitored, all that is seeping into our ground, seeping into our water table, seeping into our sewer system. And again, it's in our environment, it's in the air, and the surrounding communities are impacted by it. And these are, in my view, these are the recklessness that continues to spread certain sicknesses around our communities, and we never be able to attach them to these type of companies. And so for me, I think that the government should be more proactive in making sure that the site is properly dealt with. What is there needs to be properly disposed of, and the liquidator needs to be brought in as soon as possible. And the people of Grand Bahama, in particular the Southern District, Hawksbill, and all of the other community, should have a proper report on their findings. Private consultants at this junction now should be brought in to make sure that we don't have a spread and we didn't have an impact to those areas of concern.
MP Lewis, please quickly, what is
in my view, the operators are even more important than the liquidators. They know exactly what to do. The fear is that they are carcinogens, they are cancer-causing agents in those chemicals, as well as the volatility, the possibility of having explosions. So that's a two-pronged, dangerous element that we are exposed to. And I cannot sit by as a member of parliament knowing, or even as a Grand Bahamian, or as a Bahamian, or as a humanitarian, a human being, knowing that and not doing anything about it. I have responsibility to the people. And until they have a crew on site managing, turn the system back on, the AC units, the hydrogen system to suppress it, I will not rest. They need to move post haste, and this is not a political move. This is a matter of saving human lives and doing it post haste.
I agree, sir. I absolutely agree. I know that the Minister of the Environment has responded to you in Parliament. We certainly will follow up with him here on this show to see exactly what the status is there, to give that some immediate attention, because it's urgent. As you all say, the risks are too great, and you don't need to venture in if you don't need to, eh? And so the thing is, as you say, take proactive steps now. And so that's certainly, yes, absolutely. I thank you very much, Member of Parliament, Central Grand Bahama, Iram Lewis, and of course, Community Leader Talk Show host Darren Cooper.